What's up guys, it's River and today we're looking at the best budget cameras for YouTube. These cameras are as affordable as possible without them being hot garbage. On top of that, I made sure that these cameras have the specific things that you need for YouTube. So make sure to watch this video all the way through so you don't miss the perfect camera for you. By the way, if you're new to the channel, my name is River. We talk about anything and everything to do with camera gear, from entry level to high-end production gear, plus teaching you guys how to take better photos and videos. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like down below. It helps me make more of these videos for you guys. And if you like any of the products that we talk about today, I'm gonna leave links down below in the description. Let's get into the video. All right guys, let's get right into it. At the very start of this list, we have the Canon T7. The reason this camera is number one is because it is extremely affordable. So right off the bat, this camera has a 24 megapixel sensor, which is the same sensor that you find in the high-end Canon cameras. This camera is going to give you that beautiful Canon color science where all the colors look warm and saturated and people especially look attractive. Canon cameras really shine when it comes to skin tone reproduction, so if you're going to be shooting a lot of people for YouTube, Canon cameras are definitely the way to go. However, I should mention that this camera does not have any built-in stabilization, so if you're gonna be doing a lot of handheld work with this camera, I definitely recommend getting a gimbal. In my experience, I've gotten a little bit of jitter in my footage. But apart from that, this camera will give you gorgeous video on a budget. However, there is one problem with this camera that might make it a deal breaker for some of you, and that is the fact that this camera does not have any external input for a microphone. Now, some of you guys will not be able to use this camera for what you want to do, but have no fear, I have cameras that are perfect for you later in this list. However, I'm noticing a lot of YouTubers nowadays aren't actually on camera. They're usually real estate agents or people that shoot products, and you guys just need a gorgeous image and all the audio you guys record somewhere else. So if you're somebody that just needs good video without the internal audio, this camera is perfect, especially at this price point. Also, something that I have to mention about the Canon T7 is that the autofocus for video is not the greatest. It tends to be a bit slow and pretty stuttery. It's okay if you kind of just set it to one point and leave it, but if you're someone that's going to be tracking something as it's going in and out of focus, this camera will struggle. So if you're going to be using this camera with any kind of movement, I really recommend using it with manual focus. And apart from that, I love the design of this camera. It's easy to use, the ergonomics are great. Anybody, and I mean anybody, can easily pick this camera out, figure out how to use it in a couple of minutes, that's right, just a couple of minutes, and get great stuff with it. Also, the other thing that I love about Canon DSLRs is the battery life. The Canon T7 uses the LP6 battery, and when it comes to video, you can easily get an hour to 2 hours of runtime. So if you're someone that's just casually getting into YouTube or you're on a really tight budget, the Canon T7 is an easy way to get into YouTube without breaking the bank. And on top of that, you guys probably won't believe me, but here is a picture of a baby panda. The reason there's a picture of a baby panda here is because the baby panda wants you to smash that like button. So if you have a moment for the baby panda, please smash that like button. And with that being said, let's get into the next camera, but make sure you smash that like button for the baby panda. Okay, and the next camera on this list is probably one that you guys did not expect, and that is the DJI Pocket Osmo. If you're somebody that actually wants a proper DSLR camera with a gimbal stabilizer, but you just don't have the money, the Pocket Osmo is perfect. The Pocket Osmo is a tiny little thing that honestly packs quite a bit of horsepower. It actually does 4K up to 60 frames per second. And on top of that, it does full HD at 120 frames per second. And of course, all of these frame rates are perfectly smooth and perfectly stabilized. The Pocket Osmo legitimately gives you a powerhouse in your pocket. And on top of that, it does have some really cool modes like panoramic, time-lapse, and motion time-lapse built right in. If you're someone that's traveling or doing anything similar to vlogging, this camera is a perfect way to do it on a budget. Also, if you're like me and you hate editing your own videos, the DJI Pocket Osmo actually has the DJI Mimo app that will edit your videos for you. It will take all of the clips you record and put them together into a really quick, charming little edit. Now, it's not going to be quite professional YouTube quality, but if you're doing something like a house tour or a product shot, and you just want to get something quick, make it look cool, and just throw it out to your client, this camera is going to do a really good job. And honestly, while you can use the DJI Pocket using the controls on the Pocket itself, the app is probably the easiest and quickest way to control it and change all the settings. And last but not least, the Pocket Osmo does have the ability to record external sound. You need a small $40 attachment, but that will allow you to put external sound into this camera. The only downside of this camera, and it's a small one, is that the battery life only lasts for about 2 hours, but thankfully you can easily plug in a battery bank that you can buy on Amazon for $20, and this thing will easily run all day. The Pocket Osmo is easy to use. It's going to give you fantastic video quality, and if you're somebody that wanted a DSLR with a gimbal stabilizer but couldn't quite afford it, this is the best way to do it on a budget. Also, quick side note, there is a DJI Pocket Osmo 2. It has better image processing and it has better audio. It is a bit more expensive and it's not quite within our budget price range. However, if you're feeling ambitious, be sure to check that out. I'll leave a link down below. Also, if you're watching this video, chances are you really want to start your own YouTube channel, but you don't exactly know how. In that case, I have exactly what you're looking for. My name is River. I'm a professional director and cinematographer. I've worked with brands like Nike, Lululemon, Canada Goose, Sephora, and for the last few years, I've been a professional full-time YouTuber. But not only that, I've actually helped dozens of my friends break into the YouTube space and turn their casual interest into a high-paying side hustle. Which is why it kind of made sense to do the exact same thing for the people that actually watch my YouTube videos. So if you're interested in learning how to take your casual interest in photography, video, or whatever you want your YouTube channel to be about and turning that into a high-paying side hustle, I made this course exactly for someone like you. And if you just sign up with the link down below, you'll actually get my photo presets and my video presets absolutely for free so that you can start making top quality content right away. Check out the link down below for the Side Hustle Pro course. And the next camera on the list is the Canon M50. And this is probably the camera that most of you guys are going to get. And that's not a surprise because it is actually one of the most popular YouTube cameras out there today. The Canon M50 is a tiny little camera that doesn't look that impressive, but it is actually an absolute beast. So the Canon M50 has a 24 megapixel sensor, which is the same one from the Canon T7. However, because it has a newer processor, it's going to give you extra bells and whistles like faster autofocus, a touchscreen autofocus, 4K, and 120 frames per second instead of 60 at 720p. When it comes to frame rates, the Canon M50 does Full HD up to 60 frames per second, and it does 720p at 120 frames per second, which is 4 times slow motion. And if you've been on YouTube for the last week, the one thing you've probably realized is that YouTube loves slow motion. However, what I love about the Canon M50 is the fact that it has fantastic autofocus. It's fast, reliable, plus it has intelligent face and object tracking, so when it comes to grabbing focus, you can honestly set it and forget it. This thing really does the job for you. However, I should mention there is a Canon M50 Mark II, which is only about $50 more, but it actually has eye detect on top of the face and object detection, plus the autofocus is supposed to be about 30% faster. Now, this is a budget YouTube video, so if you want to save that $50, spend it on something nice like Chipotle or Wendy's, I think you can do that without feeling guilty. Now, the thing that actually makes the Canon M50 an ideal camera for YouTubers is the side articulating screen that allows you to see yourself, and that side articulating screen also has touch autofocus and touch controls for the entire camera. And on top of that, this camera has a built-in input for an external microphone, so your audio is going to be that much better and easier to do with this camera. And like I said about the Canon T7, the colors in this camera are great. People especially look fantastic on Canon cameras, And the ergonomics on any Canon cameras are really fantastic. They're easy to use. Literally anybody can pick one of them up and use it right away and get great results. And on top of that, the Canon M50 Mark II, which is about $50 more, allows you to wirelessly do YouTube live videos. So if you're a serious YouTuber, Canon M50 Mark II is a great deal, even for the extra 50 bucks. Now, the only thing that I don't like about the Canon M50 Mark I or Mark II is that at this price point, I wish this camera had a longer battery life, so you will need to pick up spare batteries. So if you're serious about starting a channel, but you're on a budget, the Canon M50 is a really good choice. Well guys, that's pretty much it for my best budget YouTube cameras. If you are serious about starting a YouTube channel, make sure to check out the Side Hustle Pro course in the link down below, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.